It's moving day at the Pinnacle Bank Championship, but local favorite Luke Cluver is headed in the wrong direction. The Norfolk native made his first professional cut yesterday, but this morning he shoots 5 over par. He'll tee off in the first group again tomorrow. Another Nebraska native playing in front of an impressive following today out at Indian Creek. Great turnout on a hot day, and Scott Gachewski starts strong. His approach shot here onto the fringe. He would par the hole, but finished 2 over on the day. He's tied for 17th. One of the best shots of the day comes courtesy of Andres Gonzalez. His approach from 108 yards out lands safely on the top shelf of the green and sits pin high. He's able to tap in for birdie. Gonzalez tied for 4th. Meanwhile, Lanto Griffin had a round to remember. How's this for a hot start? The VCU grad goes birdie, 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 eagle to open a bogey-free round of 64. He's in second place, just 1 shot back of your leader, Chris Ventura. And Ventura, he's been the picture of consistency. He's gone 4 under, 7 under, 4 under so far in the tournament. He paces the field in an event that the players are calling one of their favorites.
You know, I actually munned in this event last year. This is the only one I played last year on the schedule, so glad to be back. I remember how the course played last year. It plays tough. It's one of the tougher ones we see throughout the year.
Now that's Scotty Scheffler. He's the top money leader left in the tournament. And here's your leaderboard. Ventura on top at 15 under, followed by Griffin and Tyson Alexander. 4 players tied for 4th. Scott Gachewski 2 over today. He's 10 shots back, and Luke Cluver quite a distance away, 5 over and tied for 66th. Well, the Big Red back in Lincoln today, returning from Big Ten Media Days in Chicago. The Huskers are the favorite to win the West, according to the media polls. And while Nebraska is downplaying the hype, there are plenty of reasons for optimism at Memorial Stadium.
Particularly in light of what happened at Michigan. I give Michigan a ton of credit. We weren't ready for that game. We weren't ready for them and what we saw that day. Fast forward however many weeks it was, and we played a similar team in Columbus and had chances to win. We had to try to not win the Northwestern game. We're going to win that game most of the time. And again, that gives me a lot of hope and encouragement.
Fan Day is less than 2 weeks away on August 1st, then fall camp kicks off on August 2nd, and the Huskers open the new season on August 31st against South Alabama. Well, another top Royals prospect makes the trek to Kansas City today as hard-throwing relief pitcher Josh Staumont gets the call to the big leagues. Staumont was a second-round pick in 2015 and has 74 strikeouts in 51 innings at the AAA level. He's replacing Willie Peralta, who is designated for assignment. Now, KC already underway in Cleveland against the Indians. Still scoreless in the first inning there. The Royals looking for their 5th win in 6 games. And over at Werner Park, the Storm Chasers host the Memphis Redbirds tonight. First pitch is at 7:05. Well, that does it for Sports at 6. I'm Parker Thune. You're watching Omaha's news leader, KETV NewsWatch 7.
Dallas.
Every Sooner fan knows Jalen Hurts, Kenneth Murray, CeeDee Lamb, but how many could name the long snapper and holder? Meet Casey Kelleher and Connor McGinnis.
You guys are in a unique position. The casual fan doesn't really pay any attention to the two of you until the second you screw up. Do you ever feel that pressure at all?
It's something that we signed up for, something we knew was going to happen when we decided to come here, decided to choose a position. I shouldn't mess up. It's part of my job not to mess up. So
you guys share a bond not only as specialists, but as walk-ons as well. Describe that dynamic to me. Does that increase the chemistry between you two at all?
It's already so hard to get here in the first place, and the fact that being able to get on the field, being a walk-on, I mean, that's only the walk-ons really understand it.
Take me through a day of practice for a snapper and a holder. What does your regimen look like?
A lot of reps in a very, very little time. And after that, I mean, it's mostly drill work. What would you call it? Fun.
Well, you guys are obviously 2 of the best in college football at your respective positions, but we're going to really put your skills to the test today. So you ready for that?
Sure, absolutely.
Awesome. Let's make it happen.
Football's large, a Rubik's Cube is very small. It's also a cube and not an oblong. I don't know, does football really have a shape? It's like, it's a football shape.
Look at that. Magic.
Here we go.
Either you guys gamers?
I'm Xbox guy.
Xbox? Oh, well then. This
I'm
might
a
be
PS4
out of
guy.
your wheelhouse.
I'm a PS4 guy.
Oh, okay, so this is right up your alley.
Dallas.
Slow it down!
God.
All right, so you guys have snapped a Rubik's Cube, you've snapped a controller. You ready for the gauntlet?
The gauntlet. What are we talking about here?
You're about to find out. All right, gentlemen, dinner is served. You can chalk this up probably as the first time you've ever snapped a rotisserie chicken, huh?
can put that on my my checklist. Yeah.
Don't worry, we got a fresh towel for you guys to clean up once you're done here. But I mean, this is reasonably football shaped, right?
Yeah. I mean, shouldn't be too bad, right?
The people at the supermarket gave me the option of either traditional or lemon pepper, and so I asked them, I was like, which one do you think would be better for snapping? And they figured traditional was the way to go.
That's the right call. I think that's the right way to go.
Oh yeah. The one that,
Is that, oh, you thought it was tied together?
oh. Dallas. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Look at that.
Oh man.
That's perfect. That was a good snap.
One try. The laces out?
Laces were out.
Nice.
The spine was
The
out.
spine was out.
I'm here to win. I'm not here just to have fun.
I'm a perfectionist, so I like to get things done right.
We're here for one reason, and that's to win championships.
And Spencer, how's this for a little opening nugget? We are exactly halfway through the offseason. It has been 124 days since the Sooners throttled Florida 55-20 in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. It is 124 days until they will take the field with Tulane on September 4th at Yeoman Stadium for the 2021 opener. So there's light at the end of the tunnel. Summer practices are in full swing for Nebraska basketball, and that means a first look at the revamped Husker program featuring a new head coach, new challenges, and plenty of new faces.
All right, here we go, warm it up.
With the basketball in his hands and a whistle between his lips, Fred Hoiberg looks perfectly at home. But he'll be the first to admit that he's still trying to learn everyone's name.
You know, listen, we're still getting to know these guys. They're still getting to know us.
However, he's hardly alone in a locker room where everyone is just trying to get accustomed to all the change.
We're going through like our caterpillar phases, you know. We're not at the butterfly yet, you know. We're a new team, we've only been here for like a month, so you know.
And Hoiberg is fully aware that it's going to take some work to get out of that caterpillar stage.
There's times where you see progress, and there's times where we take steps back. We've had a lot of film sessions with these guys. We're throwing a lot at them.
As for the players, they're enthusiastic about the crash course nature of Hoiberg's agenda.
You play how you practice. So I think once we go hard and once we, continue to grind throughout the summer, then it's going to be good for us in the long run.
Right now, it's all about developing familiarity, as 14 of the 16 players on the depth chart have never touched the floor for Nebraska. That's where Hoiberg's coaching style comes in handy.
You know, I am a guy that tries to make it interactive to where everybody's involved, and you ask a kid, Gervais, what are you doing on this? Talk me through this. Why did you do this play? Why aren't you talking to Shamil?
Expectations aren't sky high for year one of the Hoiberg era, but the Huskers' mission is to navigate the ups and downs and lay a foundation for long-term success.
And just understand it's going to be a roller coaster season. It's a long season for everybody. Just sticking together throughout turmoil, and just once we have success, and just keep going and fighting hard and playing hard.
Let's go.
Now, it's worth noting that as head coach of Iowa State, Fred Hoiberg did take the Cyclones from relative obscurity to the national spotlight. However, things may be a bit more difficult this time around, as Nebraska is the only Power 5 school that has never won an NCAA tournament game. Now, the contributions from all around were much needed tonight for the Sooners, as they had 20 players shelved due to COVID-19 protocol, either positive tests or contact tracing. For the Sooners today, they returned to Owen Field for the first time since September 26th. And of course, on that day, they fell in dramatic fashion to Kansas State, 38-35. Today, they welcome the Wildcats' intrastate rival, the Kansas Jayhawks, a program that hasn't beaten Oklahoma since 1997. Well, it's safe to say that Lincoln Riley and the Sooners didn't expect, nor did anyone, that this team was going to scuffle to a 1-2 start. But it hasn't been all that long, just 4 years, in fact, since Oklahoma was in an identical position. Legendary Oklahoma basketball coach Billy Tubbs passed away in hospice care yesterday at age 85. Billy Tubbs won over 300 games as head coach of the Sooners from 1980 to 1994, claimed Big 8 Coach of the Year honors 4 times, and led the Sooners to a national runner-up finish in 1988. And we remember him on Sooner Sports Pad here tonight. And here was a play that really swung the momentum. Spencer Rattler to Mario Williams. Let's be honest, that ball was picked off by DJ Graham. That should have been ruled an interception, but Williams doing a nice job, especially for a young player in his first semester of college, to hang on to that ball and compel the referees to rule simultaneous possession. Micah Bowens getting after it right here. Very nearly getting to the pylon for a touchdown, but the Sooners will punch it in 2 plays later. There's Jaden Knowles for what would be the decisive score. 30-29, your final in favor of the white team. This was the play that really confused everybody at the end because the defensive stop counted for 3 points in this game, the way it was structured. Oklahoma's defense gets a safety there, counts for only 2. So a little bit of controversy there.
The end game has arrived. One season and one legacy comes down to one game and one moment. Through the euphoria and the dejection, these Warriors have refused to be deterred. They're terrifying. They're relentless. And they're taking no prisoners on the drive for 5.
Hurts with a straight drop, takes his eyes down, takes off. Touchdown, Oklahoma!
It's Oklahoma and Baylor in a grudge match for the ages, with everything at stake. 2 teams stand, but only one will leave this building in triumph. Sooner Nation, this is the final stop on the road to glory. This is AT&T Stadium, and this is GamedayU. Most college freshmen-to-be are spending the summer working a part-time job or shopping for dorm room decor. Then there's 3-time Nebraska state golf champion Luke Cluver. He's competing with professional golfers twice his age and 1 step away from the PGA Tour. Cluver's victory last weekend in the Indian Creek Invitational earned him a provisional spot in the Korn Ferry Tour's Pinnacle Bank Championship, and he certainly didn't take for granted the chance to play alongside the pros.
To be able to say I played a professional tournament before I teed it up on the college level is a great opportunity.
And not only did he qualify for the PBC, but the recent graduate of Norfolk High defied the odds and played his way into the weekend. As the sun set over the links, Cluver buried a 9-foot putt to make the Friday cut, a feat that eluded 3 of the top 4 Korn Ferry money leaders.
Playing with older guys as just a high schooler, I've proved that I can compete at the amateur level.
Now, unfortunately, Cluver struggled a bit on Saturday and Sunday and eventually posted a 72-hole score of 13 over par. Obviously not the result he was looking for, but he's 18 years old. Growing pains are to be expected. Now, with professional experience under his belt, Cluver plans to start a new chapter of his career this fall. He'll play golf and pursue a degree at the University of Kansas. In Elkhorn, Parker Thune, KETV NewsWatch 7 Sports. So obviously here in the field house, it's fallen into disrepair. There's paint peeling off the walls, everything's decaying, birds have overrun the place, but it's still standing. And in a town where so many of the structures have been torn apart or moved, I think it's very reflective of this town's identity, the fact that the athletic complexes are still in place, because the reality is in this town, everybody was a gorilla. The athletics at Pitcher Cardin High School were something that the entire community rallied around.
Delarian Turner-Yell is going to be a finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award. And this guy's only about 5'10", but I'm not sure there is a more valuable member of the Oklahoma secondary than Delarian Turner-Yell. Very few safeties across the country have his tackling ability and his capacity to get to either side of the field with a plum. He's got a motor that you just don't see at the safety position. You see it maybe once every so often in an NFL caliber linebacker like Kenneth Murray. But I was so impressed with Delarian Turner-Yell in 2018, not just for his coverage, but for his ability as a tackler. He's not a guy that misses tackles. He's gonna wrap up, he's gonna secure the ball carrier. And that's the reason why I think he's gonna have a huge impact for this team in terms of statistical production.
Tevis, the Sooners go 2-1 here at the Shriners Classic and cap it off in historic fashion. Dane Acker becomes the first Sooner to toss a no-hitter since 2005. You could tell early on it was going to be quite a day for the right-hander. He had it all working. Fastball, changeup, that devastating curveball. 11 strikeouts and 118 pitches later, he gets the bouncer from Alex Milazzo. Brandon Zaragoza makes the throw over to first, and there you have it, a no-no at Minute Maid Park. Now, while Acker's gem is certainly the crown jewel on the weekend for the Sooners, what's perhaps more impressive is the fact that they just beat 2 national powerhouses in LSU and Arkansas. They'll look to keep the momentum rolling tomorrow night when they take on Dallas Baptist at L. Dale Mitchell Park. From Houston, Parker Thune, Sooner Sports Pad.
How would you like to explain to your defensive coordinator that you got mossed by a quarterback? Look at Davis Mills get up off the reverse pass, and come on now, it's not like the Beavers were going to recover from that. What a display of athleticism from the junior signal caller, and that would give his Cardinal all the cushion they needed. Stanford wins 31-28.
This past weekend, we witnessed the culmination of one of the most impressive personal comeback stories in the history of sports. On November 18, 2018, Alex Smith's athletic career should have been over. And for those of you who are squeamish, you're going to want to look away here. Alex Smith, in taking a sack, suffered a compound fracture of both bones in his lower leg, and this injury nearly cost him his life. Folks, he developed sepsis after an emergency procedure to stabilize his leg. Doctors told him at one point that amputation above the knee was the only viable option, but he wasn't just determined to keep his leg, he was determined to return to the professional football field, and yesterday he did just that in front of his wife and 3 children, taking the field for the Washington football team 2 years and 17 surgeries later. Alex Smith, a tip of the cap to you, sir. What an unbelievably poignant moment. I look at Trey Brown and the situation that he landed in Seattle with the 137th overall selection. Trey Brown is a guy that is going to have a chance to go in and make an immediate difference for a team that statistically had the worst pass defense in the NFL last year. And I get that what everybody was ogling over with Trey Brown in the pre-draft process was his speed, and he's got plenty of it. He's a 4.4 guy. But you don't draft a guy in the 4th round if you just want him to return kicks. It's pretty clear that Seattle views Brown as a guy that can help them immediately reverse the course in their defensive backfield and could potentially start to open the year at cornerback or at nickel.
Tennessee and Alabama, and if you're looking for a play that sums up the last decade of volunteer football, this might be it. Jared Garantano fumbles the quarterback sneak on the 1-yard line, and Trayvon Diggs goes the distance in the other direction. Whatever hope Tennessee had of upsetting Alabama gone on one play. Crimson Tide 35-13.
Welcome to Arlington, Texas, where we continue to inch closer and closer to kickoff of the 85th Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic between Oklahoma and Florida. Now, the prevailing storyline tonight isn't the players that will be taking the field at AT&T Stadium. Rather, it's the players that won't, as both the Sooners and Gators are missing key contributors due to opt-outs. However, that certainly hasn't diminished the importance of this game for Oklahoma head coach Lincoln Riley.
Do a couple of guys, or are there going to be a couple players here and there through the years that maybe think the bowl game is not that important? There may be, but we got to be careful to take the 1 or 2% and say, well, that's how everybody feels, because there's a big percentage of both of our football teams that are going to be pretty excited to play this game tomorrow night. So I tend to go with the majority and think these games are still pretty darn important.
Now, Oklahoma's 2 confirmed inactives tonight are senior cornerback Trey Brown, who will enter the 2021 NFL Draft, and sophomore wide receiver Jaden Hazelwood, who is still rehabbing from a knee injury suffered in May. However, the Sooners may see a return from star H-back Austin Stogner, who hasn't played since November 7th due to a leg injury. He is listed as questionable for this contest tonight. Kickoff comes your way at 7:10 p.m. from AT&T Stadium. For Gaylord Sports and 7 News, I'm Parker Thune. Spencer Rattler on the Sooners' opening possession, going up top to who else? Marvin Mims, 27 yards. Mims' 9th touchdown of the season, a Sooner freshman record. Next drive, Kyle Trask tries to get the Gators back in it. Trey Norwood says, no, sir, thank you very much. Runs the interception back 45 yards for the Sooners' first non-offensive touchdown of the year, and it was on. Brian Asamoah comes up with an interception on Florida's very next drive. And then how about the trifecta? The first quarter isn't even over yet. Here's Woody Washington picking off Trask for the 3rd time in this contest. Oklahoma led 17-3 after a single stanza, and it did not get any prettier from there. Late in the first half, here's Rattler calling his own number for the 2-yard score. And come the second half, it really began to get ugly. Here's Seth McGowan popping off for 73 yards, the Sooners' longest rush of the season and the longest rush of McGowan's collegiate career. In fact, he tied his career high in rushing in a single game on just that carry. His previous high, 73 yards. That carry, also 73 yards. Ramondre Stevenson would cap that drive with this touchdown run, bouncing off Gators here and there and everywhere before finding his way into the end zone. And then just for good measure, Marcus Major gets in on the action. 46 yards to the house down the right sideline to put the finishing touches on the victory. 55-20, the final.